very dear to my heart. I mean, the issue, not the killing of Omar. The issue is dear to my heart because what we are seeing is the resurgence of autocracy and backsliding to dictatorship. And it starts like this. Dictatorship doesn't just come in overnight. It comes gradually. They start chipping away at our fundamental rights, at what we own and what we do, and bringing in gradually impunity. If we allow police officers to go there into Mandinering and kill, because by all indications, they have killed this. Of course, we'll wait for the inquiry. But the prima facie evidence shows that this gentleman was killed. And killed most probably by the police officers who were chasing him. Because eyewitnesses attest to that. The inquiry will decide all of that. And I heard that there's going to be a coroner's inquest, which also hopefully will ascertain the cause of death, not by falling in a grass field and getting killed somehow, no.
Or jumping fences.
Exactly. Because all indications are that this gentleman's neck was broken. By who? How did it happen? The inquest should determine that. And the police officers who were involved in this, I understand, have been arrested and suspended for the moment. I hope the inquiry goes right to the end, because if we allow police officers, the rogue ones, these are very few elements in the police force. As I keep saying, the bulk of our police force are law-abiding, Republican-minded citizens. But we have a few rogue elements which are being introduced into the system again. If we allow this to go ahead, gradually we get to the jungler situation, where some people become so empowered, so protected, they believe they're above the law. If they beat somebody up and don't get called to order for that, particularly somebody dies and nobody goes to jail for that, for a very long time, hopefully, the impunity is going to set in. They will think they can do anything and get away with it. That's how we got the junglers on the Jammeh. And we cannot go back there. We will not go back there. This gentleman was killed. He didn't just die a natural death. So who killed him? Under what circumstances? What are the causes of death? We need to determine that through the coroner's inquest. And the people who are responsible for that should be given maximum penalty for that. This is homicide. It cannot just go away like that. If we do, we give them license to kill. They will continue doing that. More people will be beaten up, more people will be tortured, more people will be killed, and before we know, we are back to the Jammeh days, and you'll have people disappearing, exiled, and killed, and maimed. And to my utter surprise and disgust, really, and the word is not strong, to my disgust, I saw Pate Jallo of all people. I was saying that this gentleman is the person who is saving our police. He's the man who is coming out and saying all the right things and doing all the right things. And Pate Jallo of all people go there and threaten and intimidate, saying that if they don't surrender, they will not surrender, and they have the guns. For God's sake, somebody was killed.
You said that?
Yes, somebody was killed. Sensitivity and respect for the people of Mandinering and for the family of Omar Baji requires you to go and be contrite. Say, this happened, it shouldn't have happened, and you de-escalate. You de-escalate the situation, not go threaten and intimidate them. That is not acceptable. It's not acceptable, particularly from Pate Jallo, who we thought was beginning to become the conscience of the police. He was doing and saying the right things. Please don't go there. Please don't go do like the rest. Stay the conscience of the police. You were becoming the conscience of the police, and we are proud of you. Don't go back to those people, please, and the wrong things they're doing. You cannot say that. Not you, please. All the others were saying the wrong things, and you were saying the right thing, and we're beginning to say, hopefully they learn from you.
I hope it's not contagious.
Don't go back to those places. Don't go there. We require you to stand and be the conscience of the police so that the others will exactly learn from you and move to much more Republican and law-abiding status. But if you say that, You empower the ones who are doing the wrong things, who are fighting against. Those few rogue elements in the force are not the ones we want to see. We want to see people like you, Pate Jallo, who are becoming a conscience for the police. Stay there, please. A gentleman was killed, and he has not even been buried yet. We had not even been buried yet, and we got that sort of statement from you. That's very disappointing. What we want is somebody to de-escalate the situation and understand where these people are coming from, where the youth are coming from. We do not want to see more of those youths in the streets and burning down things, and if you don't stop, that's probably going to happen. And that's good for nobody. Not for the police, not for the government, not for anybody. Nobody in this country should be considered above the law. We entrust these police officers with the monopoly of violence. We give them money to buy guns and carry guns and batons to be able to protect us, not to kill our people with impunity. That's what happened on the Gambia, and we cannot let that come back. So there must be an inquiry into this. The people who killed this gentleman must be called to book and the book thrown at them. If we don't, we are backsliding, and the never again slogan will mean nothing. And we will not allow that. We do not want a country where we're going to have chaos. We don't want a country where anything could happen. We want a country where the law is respected and we are all law-abiding, and we make sure that the rule of law takes precedence over everything else. And that requires holding the police accountable when they do something wrong. And that requires making sure that all the institutions of government are held accountable and everything is done transparently. The police must maintain law and order, but within the realm of the law. The police cannot take the law into their own hands. We cannot have rogue elements in the police force doing what they like when they like. That is not going to be accepted. So this is what we want. That's the Gambia we want, a Gambia where we are all equal before the law, where the police is held accountable. They have the right to maintain law and order. That's why we entrust them with the monopoly of violence, but violence in the Republican sense of the word. Not violence to shoot a few people up there, not the president, not the Minister of Interior, not the Inspector General of Police, or anybody else for that matter. They are accountable to the Gambian people. That's what we want to see. And there cannot be another repeat of Mantinering. We do not want to see our kids killed in the streets by rogue police elements. I think that's extremely important. Okay. So the government has to go ahead and do the right thing. We cannot have a repetition of this every time, and there's a commission of inquiry. There's a lot of... This has to stop.
Okay. I think there was something like this in Faraba as well.
Exactly.
And I suppose they are going to say, Faraba came in when now they've forgotten about it.
Yeah, and just to conclude on that, when this happens and the kids come out and there's vandalism, there's destruction of property, which we all own, and they take a few of our youths from Gala or whatever, pick up them out, throw them like bags of potatoes into trucks, and then go keep them for a few days and release them. Because we are sliding back, get the impunity in the security forces, and then the law will cover it. The courts will cover that. They indict them. They keep them in custody for a few days and then release them without any... That has to stop.
Okay. So
the courts should be able to say, no, we're not keeping anybody because what you're charging them for is not grounded in law or in fact.
Okay, I can understand. In fact, I wouldn't call it vandalism. It's just an expression of anger from the youths, really,
exactly.
Anything else. What I gather from what you are saying is you worry that there's a resurgence and backsliding to dictatorship, and it happens gradually. It takes baby steps from one thing or another. I remember there was the time when there was this tear gas at the party leaders' residents, and they were laughing and celebrating. The next minute, the baby was tear gas with the mother, 1 month old. Next minute, they start throwing people like potato bags. Next minute, somebody is dead. Yeah. So you are saying this escalating. This sadistic behavior brought about the jungle situation, and we should be very careful and watchful about it. We are recording it, and although you are saying that within the police generally you have a lot of law-abiding Republican-minded ones, Unfortunately, for the first time, maybe it's an error on his part. It could be forgiven. I'm sure he will sit back and think about it. We're a senior officer that we had a lot of hope in terms of holding the sort of law-abiding profile of the police comes out threatening everybody and intimidating. Anyway, I don't know whether Mr.
No, just a few, one or two things to add.
Add to that.
I think when you look at what happened in Faraba, what happened in Kanilai and other places, and what happened recently in Mandinari, they all strike a similar chord, and that chord is impunity. You see, Faraba has happened, an investigation was conducted, and that's where it ended.
Nothing came out.
Nothing came out of the investigation. And in all of these cases, you can almost predict the outcome with relative certainty, that it will be investigated, culpability will be established.
Some will be detained.
Yes, but at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. What makes this one very bad, and the one that they did to Gala at the National Audit Office, is that these two events, back to back, within a matter of 2 weeks, went viral internationally.
Mm-hmm.
And there has been very adverse international reactions to both of them. Yesterday, somebody sent me a video clip of what happened in Mandinari.
Really?
And this image that came out there is that we have a police force that is gung-ho on using force instead of community policing. And I think the police hierarchy, the president needs to reflect on how the police respond to citizens' demand for accountability. The president and his security forces also need to take account of the fact that the Public Order Act needs to go. It's a colonial era relic law that is intended to rein in the indigenous people. And that law is what is being used to deny citizens of their right to free assembly and freedom of expression in certain cases.
Okay.
So that has to go. But for me, the common denominator is the sense of impunity that happens. And when we take an inventory of acts of impunity, from police actions to the president firing a national auditor general, appointing somebody there, which in my view is illegal. And then you look at the National Assembly passing legislation without debate, the National Assembly passing a bill that increases the salaries of judicial officers against the will of the majority. These are all cases of impunity that will come to haunt this government. You see, when a government doesn't follow the rule of law, doesn't respect the rule of law, doesn't live the life of respect for the rule of law, it never ends well.
Yeah, certainly.
At the end of the day, accountability will set in. How that accountability pans out, nobody knows. Nobody knew when Jame was doing all this jungular stuff, going to the central bank, getting money. He did not know that it was going to end up like that. But it ended up ending like that. And Barrow is not learning. This government is not learning.
Maybe they are saying because with Jame, nothing came out of it. So also
well, yes,
when we go
but
out, there will be a lot of commissions, etc. I suppose it depends on the kind of government you have in place.
But that depends on you taking the risk of saying It hasn't happened to Jammeh. It's not going to happen
Well,
to
I'm sure
And
that's
it
something.
didn't happen to Jammeh because Barrow took over and he drafted in the people who did that wrong, all those wrong things with Jammeh. That's why it didn't happen. When there's a change of government and you have a more ethical government in place, they will be brought to book. Because we cannot shield public officials, law enforcement officers, from the consequences of their actions. If you shield them from the consequences of their actions, they will feel that's impunity and it will just go on steroids. That will be breaking of the law on steroids. And we cannot have that in the Gambia again.
Okay. So anyway, one thing is certain. You want to continue? Or
No, I just want to say that what is a common thread in the Barrow administration from 2019 to now, the common thread is impunity. 1. 2, entrenched systemic corruption. 3, intolerance for adverse opinions, especially opinions coming from the youth. A government that does not give the youths a voice and tries to keep them voiceless and suppressed.
Build the anger in them.
Yes, you build the anger in the young people, and it gets to a point where
Boom.
it cannot be contained.
Because a tinderbox.
If you look at what is happening in Madagascar, I mean, the president has lost control completely. Kenya.
Senegal,
a few months ago.
Senegal, yeah.
Senegal. Now we are seeing Morocco last night. Young people are agitating to be heard. And governments must listen to them. Governments must give them a voice. Governments must give them space to be engaged.
And even more importantly, governments must do the right thing to stop those situations from arising.
That's true.